Hi everybody, in this video I'm going to show you how to configure single sign-on between BW and SAP Business Objects. For example, if you have a Fiori Launchpad deployed on the BW system and you have some Business Objects reports integrated in the Launchpad, when you want to access a report you must enter the credentials for SAP Business Objects server because of course you want to consume a PO report. Once you have single sign-on implemented, you can access any report without the need of entering the credentials for the business objects. Basically, first step would be to enable the HTTPS communication over port 8443. I will assume that for the BW system you have already the HTTPS configured. Therefore, I'll show you how to set up the SSL for the business object server. Setting up the SSL, we need to generate a key store and a certificate file. We need to configure the server XML for Tomcat, and then upload the certificate file on the BW side. So we can do this within the command line where the server is hosted. You need to make sure that you are on the right path where your SAP Java Virtual Machine folder is. We will generate a key store with the following command. So although the key tool file has many other parameters, we will use just a few more precise. We need an alias, we need a key size, the key algorithm, and the name of the key store which is going to be generated. When running the command, it prompts for a few inputs. First of all, we will have to choose a password, which we'll be using later on. Then the first name and the last name should be the host name of the server registered over the internet, so make sure you put the right URL in. Some company details such as organizational unit, name and country. So we need to specify a city. So we need to enter the password one more time. So on the left side, we've seen that a key store has been generated. So the next step is to generate a certificate file based on this key store. So how we can do this? With the exact same file, but this time we have some extra parameters. We use the export certification parameter, the same alias, the same key store that has been generated. We specify the file that is the certificate that is going to be generated, HTTPS CRT in our case, and the password that we have chosen earlier. So both files are on the left side. The HTTPS CRT is generated. So now please put the key store and the certificate file in a separate folder somewhere. I'll choose my path. We need to set up the Tomcat configuration file, a file that can be found in your business objects folder, Tomcat and configuration. So we open the file, we scroll down and we see some settings. Since the HTTPS works through port 8443, which by default probably is 8000. So we specify the port. The SSL enabled must be set to true. The key store pass, which we have chosen earlier, in my case is my pass, and we need to specify the key store file path. In my case is in users, CMO, and a key store. Now restart the Tomcat services and verify that HTTPS link, if HTTPS link is accessible. So if you take a look, you will see that HTTPS works, but the word is red and crossed. This is because the SSL certificate must be signed by a certified authority. So after the HTTPS is configured, we'll need another key store and a certificate for the single sign-on configuration. Go back to the command line and this time generate a pkcs file. So I'll copy the command. Okay, we'll use the pkcs12 tool. We need to specify an alias. We gave an alias, in my case is insp.bi4 in capitals. The name is not important, but SAP ABAP takes it in caps, so it's better to write it with capital letters. A password exactly like in the previous step. And the point of keeping the same CN name is that it will allow the domain to be kept the same across different products. Oh, the password is welcome one. In my case is my pass. After running the command, okay, takes a little longer. Okay, we have a FIPS error, but if you disable the FIP, it should work. Let's see. Okay, if you take a look into the same folder, there were generated two files, a certificate and a key store P12. Copy these files where you have copied the ones generated earlier. Okay, now we will upload the HTTPS CRT and the cert there into a PW transaction called strust ss2. So just a second. So go to transaction strust ss2. In the transaction top menu you have certificate import. So you can upload one file after another. I'll search for my files. all out after. So you want to press the edit mode. Once the file is uploaded, you have two buttons here: add to certificate list and add to ACL. I'll first press on add to certificate list. Certificate added to PSE, it says. But when you want to add it to ACL, make sure this step is performed in client 000. The name of the certificate entry in ACL should be the alias you've chosen when you have generated the file. So in our case is Inspiricon BI4. BI4. And the client must be 000. So please make sure you have added to ACL. We'll proceed the same with the different file, the cert. So we added the certificate list, and then the step must be performed in client 000 and the system ID in BI4. So now the key store file P12 also need to be important on the BEO side. Sorry. So you want to go to the central management console. Go to Authentication Options tab. And upload the key store. The key store password and the alias in my case is mypass and mypass. The alias is insp.pi4. And the system ID is insp.pi4, because if you remember the step when we have added the certificates file into the ACL, the system ID was insp.pi4. You choose the file, the key store P12, and you just upload the file. Also very important is to check if the security service token is available on the adaptive processing server. This can be found on the server tab. Server list, you have adaptive processing server. Now you need to check if the security processing server. Okay. Security service token is available under the edit common services. Now we have just one more step, and that would be to set up the property file. We need to modify some files from the BEO server. Basically we need to edit the open document properties and the BI Launchpad properties. The file that two files that can be found into the business object folder: Tomcat, Web Apps, Web Info, and Configuration. In both files you need to specify the SSO enabled and the SSO subprimary to be true. I'm referring to the open document properties and the BI Launchpad properties. The same file exists in the business object enterprise WAR files and web apps. Ensure please that the files are modified as well, to be sure that the changes are kept when an upgrade happens. Now if you have followed my instructions correctly, you have the single sign-on successfully configured on your system. So if you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section. Thank you for watching.